Interesting facts about emotions that you probably didn't know. Quite a number of renowned scientists have talked about the concept of emotions. Particularly, Charles Darwin said a few things. He believed that emotions were beneficial for evolution because emotions improve the chances of survival. For example, the brain uses emotion to keep us away from a dangerous animal, fear, away from rotting food and fecal matter, disgust, in control of our resources, anger, and the pursuit of a good meal or a good mate, pleasure, and lust. This makes the theories on emotions pretty simple to grasp. However, this is not the case. Well, not really, and definitely not all the time. Emotions are kind of complicated, and humans have spent a great deal of time trying to figure out the logic behind emotions and how to react to them. As our usual practice, that is, if you've been following the videos on our channel, you should know we'll be talking about facts in this video, surprising facts about things you thought you knew. Today, we'll be taking a look at some of the surprising facts about emotions. Follow through. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up because you will like the video. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. People mask their true emotions. Emotions are a hard thing to deal with in life. And while many people find subtle ways of showing their true emotions, others mask them up. The fact that there's an artificial smile plastered on a person's face doesn't necessarily reveal the individual's entire emotional truth. Imagine a scenario where your best friend says how much he or she likes the book you just gave him or her for a birthday present, and then you notice something funny about the smile. Although you could try to understand why a friend might choose to react this way, you could make up excuses for your friend, something along the lines of they didn't want to disappoint you by pointing out that they already have that book, and you might think of situations when they've chosen to respond in another way. Now your best friend is trying to mask the true emotions of disappointment they feel since the book you gifted is old news. She masked disappointment and hurt, replacing it with smiles and the emotions of felicity. Emotions are contagious. While you may or may have never noticed, one fact about emotions is that they are contagious. Feelings spread between people like a virus, even if you're not paying attention to them. Whether you're in a group or with another person, you can catch both positive and negative emotions. The evolutionary basis is this simple. Humans have only survived and thrived in groups. We are social creatures. And because of that, we tend to pick up on each other's emotional states. Think about it this way. If you see the fear of someone's face, you are more likely to survive if you react quickly. If your fear response is activated instantaneously. It could be the difference between getting eaten by that tiger your friend just saw or getting away. But it's not just fear emotions that are transferable. We are constantly sending and picking up emotional messages through several mechanisms, including voice inflection, facial expressions, posture, and specific behavioral patterns. It's an incredibly important form of communication that we will partake in, even if we don't realize it. Have you ever noticed how people unknowingly imitate the slowness of elderly citizens? That's a result of picking up on their emotions. It's even contagious through social media. Emotions are triggered. Emotions do not appear from the great beyond and depart at will. They are a product of something happening inside or outside of a person, with more emphasis on the former, meaning that the cause of someone's emotions isn't always obvious. For example, it's a beautiful day and you're having fun with your friend when suddenly she starts crying. You look around and you can't figure out what could be making her feel sad. The two of you were having so much fun until a minute ago. What could have happened to make her feel so sad? Did a bee sting her? Did she think of something sad, like the fact that her grandmother is in the hospital? Or is it something else entirely? Whatever the case might be, one thing is obvious. There's been a change in her happy emotions going from having fun to being sad, which is the result of the bee sting or her remembering her ill grandmother. Her sad emotion was triggered. Is it possible to experience more than one emotion at the same time? Though this seems pretty unlikely on the surface, once one takes a thorough look at the possibility of this ever happening, one realizes that it's very possible. It's something like putting on layers of emotion the same way you would put on multiple layers of clothing when you feel chilly or during winter. Sometimes those layers clash, each trying to express themselves more on the other, and other ones can make them work reasonably well together. It's the same way with emotions when it's more than one. For instance, it's possible for a person to feel both excitement and anxiety at the same time. Sometimes they'll clash and other times they'll work together. The first day in a new school, the first day at work, meeting a lover after a reasonably long time. One is bound to feel the excitement at doing these things, but the other side lays anxiety of, are my peers gonna like me? Would I fit in with my colleagues? How much would this lover have changed? At the moment, two emotions are present. Emotions differ in intensity and degree. Another interesting fact about emotions is that emotions come in different intensities. As the previous fact before this, it's important to understand that we do not just experience a wide range of emotions, we also experience a wide range of different intensities of emotions. And just as we need to take into account the nature of the underlying emotion, we also need to pay attention to the intensity of that emotion. This applies to both the emotions we experience ourselves and the emotions we observe in other people. Here's what this means in practical terms. If you're the one who's feeling furious, you'll want to take the time to calm yourself before you do or say something you might regret. And if it's your friend who's the one who's feeling furious, you'll want to acknowledge the intensity of their feelings, perhaps by mirroring that intensity through your tone of voice or body language or both. It's a way to let your friend know that they've been heard and understood. Understanding and acknowledging this is another step to learn how to deal with emotions and their intensity as humans. People express their emotions differently. As human beings, though, there are a lot of similar patterns in the way we react to things. For emotions, it could be a little bit tricky. This brings us to the next fact about emotions. People express their emotions or feelings in a variety of ways. Humans are not structured as robots, but if that were the case, we would be able to read one another's emotions predictably and easily rather than fussing and trying to decipher hidden emotions. It would even save us from interpreting another person's feelings. Sure, that would make life easier at times, but it would also make life a lot less interesting. What makes life and relationships interesting, after all, is the fact that different people can react in different ways to the very same situation. Reactions are revealed by everything from body language to your facial expressions to the words we use. We cannot expect 10 different individuals to react to a particular action in one single way. That's setting up the experiment for failure. Sometimes it's even possible that two individuals might feel the same way of emotions, they both express them in different ways. Talk about one limping for joy and the other with just a small appreciative smile. Same emotion, different expression. Emotions build up. It is important to note that emotional buildup is a regular occurrence against individuals of different age ranges and groups. The difference in age range has little or no effect to the cause of emotional buildup. With this cleared, the next statement should be easy to understand. An emotion can become more intense or less intense depending on what else is going on. As it was cleared up at the beginning that emotions are a result of things going on inside and outside of us, this fact seeks to buttress the fact, but with more information on the buildup. Emotions can build on one another or cancel one another out. If you're having a bad day and something else happens and makes it even worse, your feelings of frustration are likely to zoom even higher. Then imagine if you receive news on another bad incident like the death of someone. The feeling of frustration and anger in the world gets even higher. It added up as a result of each of the friendly events that have happened. But if a friend drops by to bring you an unexpected treat, that feeling of frustration must disappear altogether, or at the very least, it reduces because of the presence of another emotion. It takes about 6 seconds to absorb emotions. Scientifically, studies have proven that it just takes about 6 seconds for a person to absorb an emotion into the body system. Each burst of emotional chemicals from the time it's produced in the hypothalamus to the time it's completely broken down and absorbed lasts about 6 seconds. This is all chemical and body metabolism, and to someone not inclined in that area of specialization, it all seems like jargon. However, you'd get the hang of it in a moment. If you're feeling something for longer than 6 seconds, whatever it is that we feel, we are at some level choosing to recreate and refuel those feelings. Sometimes that's good if the tiger is still chasing you. These fear chemicals are helping save your life. Sometimes it's not. It's being able to recognize a feeling quickly that propels us to action. but recognizing what emotion we are feeling, evaluating its purpose relative to other circumstances, and deciding whether to recreate it is what emotional intelligence is all about. So there are 8 basic emotions known to mankind, but there are a lot of countless variations and nuances of the known 8. The 8 basic emotions are joy, sadness, fear, disgust, surprise, anticipation, anger, and trust. There are different models of which are the basic ones. This comes from a scientist named Robert Plutchik, who has created a wheel of emotions to illustrate these 8 emotions compellingly. It shows visually the dynamics of emotions, like what happens to an emotion when it's left unchecked, and what you can get when you combine 2 emotions, like anticipation and joy. It's pretty interesting stuff, especially when you know how to interpret the wheel. It's interesting to know that all the myriad of emotions known to humans, only 8 of them are basic, meaning that every other emotion we come across is a byproduct or otherwise we result of 1 or 2 of these basic emotions. It's something similar to colors, the foundation of colors, and how more colors are generated from the few basic colors in existence. Emotions are neutral. Needless to say, but it's a fact that emotions are indeed neutral. What this means is that some emotions are not inherently good or bad. It may seem that way since, for example, joy seems to be a clear winner over sadness. I mean, who wants to be sad, right? But there are 2 problems in this way of thinking. The first problem is that joy and sadness have come in more common than we think. Joy means I can get something I care about. Sadness means I lose something I care about. So there are 2 sides of the same need, and we couldn't have one without the other. And the second problem is that every emotion is simply a signal, delivering a message. Even difficult emotions like fear, anger, or sadness are serving an important function. So one is not inherently good or the other bad, seeing as they serve specific functions, sending the brain-specific messages. You can imagine how impressed you are with the new knowledge, right? Which of the facts surprised you the most? What do you think is the most impressive thing about your emotions? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. Are you looking forward to the next video? If you are, it's your lucky day because we have several other informative, captivating, and educative facts to share with you concerning those that you do or use every day. Hurry and subscribe to our channel if you're new. You should also hit that notification bell so you never miss any of our mind-blowing videos we have in store for you. Till next time, bye-bye.